This system will notify you once you begin your broadcast. Only mode.
Hello, welcome early birds. Just wanted to check in first to see if you can see me and hear me. If you can, just leave a quick message below in the chat window to let me know that you can see me and hear me. Great. I'm so glad you're here. Thanks for coming early and securing your spot. Since we have a few minutes before the call is going to start, I'd like to open the floor to you at the chat room. So if you go to bit.ly/M2M webinar 1. It's in the chat window below. You can see the link right there. Just click on that link. And sorry, it's a tiny URL link, tinyurl.com. And let me know why you're here today, why this topic is so important for you to learn, and what getting this stuff right means to you. Uh-oh, so I see you can't see me. You can just hear me? Okay, sorry about that. I thought you couldn't see me, but you can see the presentation. All right, so if you go to the Facebook chat window using the link below, just let us know why you're here and what you want to learn. So we'll make sure to cover that in the call today. Also, if you want a shot at winning one of the 3 live website audits at the end of the call, then just post a link to your website with one sentence about why you should be chosen. So do that now while we wait just a couple of minutes for people to arrive, and we'll get started in just a moment. So go to Facebook and let me know why you're here and why learning this material is important to you and your business. And if you want to be considered for the live website audit at the end of the call, just post a link to your website and let me know why you want to be selected. I'm really looking forward to getting started. Great. I see a few of you are posting links to your websites for the website audit, and I really look forward to choosing the three that we'll be working with live here at the end of the call. And you're also letting me know why you're here. So thanks for letting me know that, and feel free to ask any questions because I'm going to stay on the Q&A until your questions are answered. So I'll be sure to pick them up soon. So for those of you who are just joining, head on over to our Facebook chat because that's where we'll be interacting live throughout the call and where you can be asking me questions, and my team will be getting those questions back to me so I can answer them. All right, we'll be starting in just 2 minutes, so go ahead and head over to Facebook and we'll be back here in just a minute. Thank you to Elizabeth, Christina, David, and Willie for leaving your notes on the Facebook wall and letting me know why you're here today and putting your links up for consideration for the website audit at the end of the call. I'm really looking forward to hearing more from all of you and answering your questions. So we'll be beginning in just a minute. Hello, welcome to 7 Simple Strategies to Get More Clients and Double Your Fees. I'm so glad you're here, and I have a lot in store for you over the next 90 minutes. But first, a couple details about today's call. We have a live community chat going on my Facebook wall. There's a link to the chat room in the chat window below. You can leave your questions and comments there throughout tonight's call, and my team will answer them or let me know there's a question so I can be responding to each of you live. As I was saying to everyone before the call started, if you want a chance at winning one of the 3 live website audits I'll be doing at the end of the call, then take a moment to share a link to your site and 1 sentence about why you want to be chosen. The only condition for winning one of these audits is that you have to be here when I do them, because I'll be asking some probing questions to you before I get into the audit to make sure I'm giving you feedback that's really targeted and directed to what you're looking for. Okay, so let's get started. For those of you who are meeting me for the first time, I'm Marisa Murgatroyd, founder of Live Your Message. We help entrepreneurs and small business owners with a big message for the world build a leading brand and lucrative web presence that positions them as a leading authority in their field, allowing them to get more clients, make more money, and have more impact. Before I started Live Your Message, I produced dozens of large-scale web, video design, and interactive media projects for clients like the Getty Museum, PBS, UCLA, and the state of California. Cumulatively, these projects moved over 75,000 units, generated over 1 million in sales, and won over 30+ industry awards, including 2 Tellys. These days, I work one-on-one with thought leaders such as Don Crowther, Alexis Neely, and Morgana Ray to build their brands and web platforms, in addition to reaching thousands of up-and-coming entrepreneurs through my blog and training programs. I spent the first 8 years of my career working with nonprofits and producing pro-social media until I realized that business is the greatest force for change on the planet, and that I could have more impact through empowering new and established entrepreneurs to achieve that next level of success. It's now my passion to give business owners like you the tools and strategies you need to turn your message into money and impact. Because when you're on purpose and doing what you love, the world moves just a little bit closer to the place that I want to live in. So here's what we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how to beat the odds. There are over 2.6 billion people online and more than 620 million websites. You will never, ever have a bigger opportunity to get your message out there to the people who need it most. But here's the rub. In this crowded, caffeine-fueled, fractured attention span space, you have just 3 seconds to grab someone's attention and keep them reading or lose them forever. Because online, you're always just one click away from the back button, the close button, the goodbye, good night, and good luck button. You're always 3 seconds and one click away from the read more, get instant access, and buy now button. So how do you make that 3-second rule work in your favor? How do you captivate someone so they keep browsing long enough to get to know you and take action? Whether that means signing up for your list, commenting on a blog post, contacting you, or even buying from you. Well, it has something to do with the Pinterest-style websites that are sweeping the internet right now. You've got Pinterest itself, and you've got Manteresting, which is like Pinterest for men, believe it or not. And you have Ryan Deiss's digitalmarketer.com and even sex.com. I'm not going to show you that slide for obvious reasons. So the secret reason why these websites are so popular is that they understand what's called the product reading sequence, which has to do with how we process new information. The thing is, if you get this wrong or even do it in reverse, no one's going to stick around to find out what you do. And most people make the huge mistake of starting with step 4 or 5 in the sequence. So they lose people as soon as they open their mouths or as soon as someone new shows up on your website. The very first step in the product reading sequence is simply to get noticed. If you can't stand out through factors such as contrast, color, words, shapes, fonts, and graphics, no one's going to stick around for step 2, 3, 4, and 5. So looking back at Pinterest, can you see that the entire website is structured around getting you to notice something, anything? The more they can hook you in through your eyes and senses, the longer you'll stay with your mouth open, just drooling, looking at all the pretty pictures. I know I've spent hours doing this myself. And the longer you stay, the more likely you'll click on something. Keep surfing and go deeper. Now, step number 2 is just as simple as step number 1, and that's what is it? Once someone notices something, they want to know what it is. It sounds almost deceptively simple, but how many times have you visited someone's website and not understood what they do? More often than not, fine-tuning your message so someone can grasp it within the initial 3 to 8 seconds takes some work. But don't worry, we're going to go on to this in just a little bit. So if you master steps 1 and 2, which is get noticed, and what is it, your visitors are going to stick around for step 3, which is why should I care? And why should I care is exactly the turning point for you in forming a relationship with your prospects. If you can get someone to care, they're going to move on to steps 4 and 5, which is tell me more and tell me the details. As you might have guessed, the first 3 steps happen almost instantaneously in those first 3 seconds. But the problem is that most people start with steps 4 and 5, which can take minutes to really convey. Are you starting to see how easy it is to lose people? If you really start with giving people the details, the more information, the features, the benefits, the price, the guarantees, they're going to get lost because you haven't captured their interest in the first place. So I wanted to make a confession. This is exactly the mistake I made when I first got started. So I quit my day job a few years ago with the hope and dream of starting my own business. I only had enough money in the bank to support me for 1 month, maybe even 2 months. So I just rushed into things. I chose a business name I didn't love, Be Seen Boldly, and I designed a logo just using stock illustrations from iStock Photo. And I put this website up that you can see right now in just a couple weeks. I thought, if I have a website, I'll officially be in business and people are going to start hiring me. Well, I was wrong. I didn't know about the 3-second rule, and I didn't know about the product reading sequence. I assumed people would get what I did and just hire me. That assumption couldn't have been farther from reality. While I did get a couple clients, it felt like twisting their arms and legs just to get them to hire me and pay me a fraction of the money I now charge for the same services. And then they were a real pain to work with too. They just didn't appreciate me or respect my expertise despite my 8 years of experience running major projects for well-respected agencies. And even though I was blogging, I just had a couple hundred people coming to my website each month, hardly enough to keep a roof over my head. So clearly, I was doing something wrong in those first 3 seconds. Either I wasn't sending the right messages, or I wasn't speaking to the right clients, or I didn't have the right strategies, or all of the above. And the kicker was that I knew how to do this right. I just didn't take the time to do it because, like so many other experts, I thought that what I did was so valuable that people would just get it and want to buy it, and that I didn't need to do all that message, branding, positioning, strategizing stuff. Well, I was wrong. And now I was stuck with a business strategy, a name, and a website that wasn't getting noticed and wasn't getting me the results I wanted. I didn't want to or feel like I could change it because I had already invested so much time and money into it. I thought, this is good enough. I even had some well-known coaches who liked my brand. They told me it was great and encouraged me to just keep on going with what I had. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't right and it wasn't working for me. So I found myself hesitating from going up to people at networking events because I was embarrassed by my business card and I didn't really know what to tell them I did. I found myself not doing key marketing activities like setting up a Facebook page because I didn't love my business name and didn't want to be stuck with a page with that name. Finally, a friend sat me down and said, Marisa, you are just not Be Seen Boldly. I hemmed and hawed and said, I know, but I don't have anything better. And he told me, keeping your business the way it is, it's just not an option. So come up with something new. Tough love, I know. But then I realized he was right. I realized that nothing I could say and do would matter if I didn't have the right words and the right brand. So I took a step back to work on my business, actually doing my own process on myself, and I created Live Your Message, and everything shifted overnight. The brand landed. It struck a chord with the people I wanted to serve, and it really felt like me. Now I had the message, the graphics, the feeling, the strategy to get out there in a massive way, and people noticed. They started to follow me, hire me, and buy from me. It was like I had this hit song in the sense that I'd hit on the perfect combination of words, phrases, melody, tone, and hook so that people were totally getting my business within that first 3 seconds and wanting to hire me. Suddenly, my business was that hit song that everyone was humming and telling their friends about. So to stretch the metaphor a little bit, how many bad songs make it to the top of the charts on their own merits and stay there? Capturing the hearts and minds of everyone who listens. Not many, right? Sure, record companies can pay to put songs up there, but they wouldn't have gotten up there otherwise, and they certainly don't stay there for long. But how many truly great songs, even by unknown artists, seem to come out of nowhere and all of a sudden you hear it everywhere? Think of Goiche's song, Somehow, Somebody I Used to Know. I mean, who'd even heard of Goiche before last year? And now he's everywhere. So it makes sense that branding and positioning your business correctly is all about making your business that hit song that everybody's humming and talking about. What I'm going to show you over the next 20 minutes are some truly powerful ways of working out exactly what you need to do to turn your business into a hit song, and it's actually going to be easier than you think to do. So keep watching. But of course, there's no way in an hour that I'll possibly be able to cover everything I could teach you or go into as much detail and depth as I'd like. After all, I've been studying this stuff for the past 10 years, and I've invested over $56,200 to learn from the top marketing masters. So I'm going to give you everything I can today, and after I get through these, I'm going to tell you about the best way you can get more training from me on this to really nail your hit song. So let's zero in on your brand universe. This is all the places that people interact with you and your business. Like me, so many people make the mistake of trying to do all of this at once. They try to build their website, grow their email list, start blogging and marketing, put together the products and services. But not only is this completely overwhelming, but the thing is it's almost impossible to master those first 3 seconds without getting this core solid. And as we've seen, if you don't master those first 3 seconds, you're just not going to have another 3 seconds or 3 minutes with that prospect. So we're going to dive into the center part of your business, your message, and your brands. First thing is you have to chart your destination. If you don't know what you want and where you're going, you're not going to get there. Let me give you an example. My coach, Brendan Burchard, got up on stage at his 10X Empire event and asked the question, do you want to know how I got a $2 million book deal? Of course, we all nodded and said yes. And you know what he said? He said, 5 years ago, I asked myself, what would it take to get a $2 million book deal? And I went about building it. That's right. It takes that level of just strategy and foresight to really get you where you want to go. That doesn't mean you have to look into your crystal ball and know absolutely everything about your business, but it does mean that you need a sense of where you want to go. And let me tell you, when you do this work, the sky's the limit. You can really accomplish anything if you set it in your sights and go for it. So here's the thing. If you can imagine it, you can achieve it. If you can dream it, you can become it. That really is the case. So once you know where you're going, it's time to find your fuel, or the story you can tell the world to let them know why you're the one to do what you do. This will instantly allow people to connect to your personal story from going from pain to redemption and to show them that they can do it too. The more vulnerable you are in sharing yourself in a way that supports your offerings, the more people will connect with you and feel like you have the solution to their problems. Your story, your fuel, your big reason why is also your motivation for getting up in the morning and continuing to move forward when things get hard or boring, or when you just don't feel like it or life gets in the way. And then once you know where you're going and where you came from, it's time to choose your niche, or the topic or industry you want to focus on first. Niching yourself isn't an act of pigeonholing yourself forever. It's simply a way to laser focus your efforts in your business and assure your success. So people always ask me, Marisa, won't I limit my audience if I choose a niche? And I want to give you an example from the world of entertainment. Do you guys know the film Napoleon Dynamite? Well, when it first came out, Fox Searchlight marketed it to geeks and nerds. That's right. They only marketed the film to geeks and nerds, not those testosterone-charged, like 15-year-old football stars, but the pocket protector crowd. And the reason why they did that is because they knew if they could really capture the geek audience well, that the film would spread. That's what's called a crossover hit in the world of filmmaking. So when a film really quickly captivates its core audience, a lot of times it spreads beyond the audience to the people that they want to share it with and transcends the niche, becoming kind of more of a cultural phenomenon. So the same is true in business. If you start in a focused niche, that simply allows you to get more bang for your buck. It doesn't limit future possibilities, especially if you brand yourself well. It just gives you a way to find quick success and to build a launch pad for the next phase of your business. So the right niche is a three-way intersection between what you love, what you're great at, and can even be the best in the world at, what people need, want, and are willing to pay for. So choosing a niche is the difference between doing what one of my clients came to me with. She wanted to become an expert in anti-aging. But you know, there are a lot of people who talk about anti-aging. So I challenged her to get more specific. And after a few minutes of conversation, what became apparent is that she wanted to not just become an expert in anti-aging, but she was interested in how you could eat better to reverse or slow the aging process. So she wanted to become an expert on slowing down the aging process through nutrition and healthy eating. Now, that was something that she could do super well and even own. But anti-aging was so big, so broad, that she could never become the #1 expert in anti-aging. She couldn't be the best in the world at that. But she could be the best at how to eat properly to slow and stop the aging process. So once you have your niche and you know who, you want to know who's going to be willing to pay for what you do. And you also want to make sure that you're willing to work with that person day in and day out. When you choose your ideal client, it's important to choose a group of people that you're going to enjoy working with and who aren't going to make your life miserable. Because even if they're willing to pay you the money, if it's really kind of hell to wake up every day and work with those people, they're not your ideal client. Remember, you're building a business that's about doing what you love, and you've got to do it in a way that you love. That doesn't mean there aren't going to be certain things that you hate, certain things that are just kind of drudgery to get through, but it does mean setting yourself up for success in a life you're going to love and a business that you're going to love. So in addition to working with people that you really like to work with, it's also critical to find people who want what you have to offer and who are going to appreciate the way in which you offer it. So most likely, your ideal client resembles you at some point in your life before you found the solution that enabled you to get where you are today. So one caveat, if you're marketing your services to the wrong audience, it's going to feel like you're fishing in a swimming pool. You just aren't going to get any bites, and it's going to feel a lot harder than it needs to be. But if you're really marketing yourself to the people who need and want you, the people who resonate with you and who you can speak to kind of naturally as yourself, it's like fishing in a small pond full of fish. It's going to be super easy to zero in and, attract the clients that you really, really want to work with. So once you choose your ideal clients and you know what you're doing and who you're serving, you have to wrap your offer in words that people are going to resonate with. So if you remember the product reading sequence that I told you about at the beginning of the call, this isn't about giving loads of information up front that people aren't ready for. It's about simply and effectively conveying what you do and why it matters in a way that gets someone's attention. This seems simple, but you'd be surprised how many business owners can't fill in the following statement in a way that gets someone interested. I help X do Y so that Z. So I help my ideal clients do the result, the outcome, or the transformation so that they can get this benefit. That's really important to them. So if you remember at the very beginning of my presentation, I gave you my offer statement. Here it is again so you can see an example of what I'm talking about. I help entrepreneurs and small business owners with a big message for the world build a leading brand and web presence that positions them as a leading authority in their field, allowing them to get more clients, make more money, and have more impact. So are you interested yet? Do you want to know why? Are you going to ask me, so tell me how you do that, tell me more? Because that's the reaction that you want to get from your elevator pitch, your offer. And if you did not respond to the statement that I just said, you're probably not my ideal client, and that's okay. You got to remember that your offer only needs to work to your ideal client. You don't have to get everyone excited about it, because if you're talking about anti-aging to a 15-year-old, they're just not going to be interested in it. And you actually want to do your offer in a way that sparks and causes your ideal client to say yes, but also in a way that lets people who aren't your ideal client know that you're not the person for them, because you don't want to waste your time working with or speaking to someone who's just not a good fit. You only have so many hours in a day, so you really want to be focused on the people who are going to say yes, and then to strategically craft your offer in a way that makes sense and that fully resonates with them. So I know this sounds simple, but this is super, super important to distill everything that you do and who you help and why it matters down into a very, very simple statement. Now, I'm not sure if you can get to this today, but work on it for a few minutes now or a few minutes after the call, because I can tell you this is what's going to let you walk into any room and be able to say what you do in a way that lights people up and gets them to ask for your business card, ask for more, ask how you do that, ask or say, yes, when do I start? So once you've crafted your offer, it's time to look at your hook. So how is a hook different from your offer? It really specifically and clearly answers step 3 in the product reading sequence, or why should I care? It's that magic combination of just 3 to 5 words that activates your audience and gets them to say yes. So your hook is clearly and explicitly going to tell someone why they should care. So let me give you a few famous examples. You've got Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Now that tells you if you want to be a highly effective person and you're not yet, or even if you are a highly effective person but you want to become more effective, it tells you to listen up. It gives you the cue, the signal that this is for you. It also lets you know that there are 7 habits. So that makes me think, oh, I can do this. There are just 7 habits. I can learn 7 habits. So a hook is super, super focused and specific because it tells you that you're listening to the right person and what you can do about it in a way that's tangible and finite. Here's another example. It's a book by an author named Jesse Kanan. He wrote The 7-Day Back Pain Cure. That's a perfect hook because it tells you, A, back pain. If you have back pain, you know this is for you. B, it's about getting a cure. If you have back pain, you're probably looking for a cure. And C, it tells you you can do this in 7 days. So it's not back pain cure in 5 years. It's a back pain cure in 7 days. That gets me interested if I have back pain because I want the solution to my problem. I want to get out of pain, and I want to get out of pain soon. Another example by Eben Pagan is his program, Wake Up Productive. Right? It tells you specifically what the benefit is. It's waking up every morning and feeling productive. Now, who doesn't want that? Now, that's something that's almost universally appealing no matter who you are and where you come from, unless you're kind of a lazy couch potato, but I don't imagine there are a lot of you on this call. So wake up productive. Now, here's another one by a friend and partner of mine, Alicia Dunhams. Her hook is bestseller in a weekend. So she does a whole weekend event where she teaches authors how to write their bestseller in just a weekend. You see how specific that is? Bestseller. That instantly triggers somebody. If they want to write a bestseller, the word bestseller is in their consciousness. And it tells them how long it's going to take, just a weekend. So if you can think of something that encapsulates what you do in these very clear, specific, and focused terms and signals to your audience that they're listening to the right person, then that's a hook. And oftentimes you can use your hook as a tagline or a name of your product. It's not necessarily your business name, but it can be. The only disadvantage of using it in your business name is it might be too specific. That's going to limit you. So now that we've talked about your hook, your tagline, what is that business name? Kind of what I told you at the beginning of this call is I told you I started my business with the name Be Seen Boldly. And I thought it was a great name when I started. It looked good on paper, it made me feel good, until I started saying it out loud. And once I started to say Be Seen Boldly out loud, I realized that people couldn't hear the words properly. They said, what? Can you repeat that? Be seen what? Is that the letter B, the letter C? It started with 2 words, be seen, that could be multiple words. Be could be B-E or B-E-E. Seen could be S-E-E-N or S-C-E-N. S-C-E-N-E. See, I'm confusing myself just trying to tell it to you, right? So, you know, it just failed one of the kind of critical 5 criteria for finding a good name. And I've had people kind of write in Be Seen Baldly. I've had every variation of this because people couldn't say it and they couldn't remember it. They couldn't hear it, spell it, so it failed. It wasn't a good name, and I didn't realize it because I hadn't practiced speaking the name to people before I chose it. I just picked something that felt good to me and that looked good in paper because I'm a visual person. But your name has to look good on paper, but it also has to have good sounds when you speak it. A good name also has to be memorable. It needs to reinforce your brand and establish your credibility. It also can't limit your future growth in any way. And it has to be available as a domain, preferably a .com, and it can't be trademarked in a way where somebody else owns it. So that can limit your options, but it doesn't have to, because there are so many creative ways to find an amazing name. And I'm not sure how many of you, probably all of you, have a business that you're already or are starting a business soon, and you might feel like you have a name, but I'd encourage you to look at that and see if it's really supporting your growth. Because remember, we want to look 3 years, 5 years into the future. Is this a name that can support your growth over the next 3 to 5 years? And let me give you one more example of this. Look at the famous California candy maker, See's Candies. Now, they primarily sell chocolate, but if they had named their business See's Chocolates, then it would have been hard for them to expand out into kind of toffees and brittles and lollipops and gummies and everything else that they sell. So they chose a name, See's Candies, that would allow them to continue to produce candies. However, it's going to be hard for them to start marketing cakes and croissants and everything else. You know, they focus their brand in the candy market. So if you've named your business something like Go Mobile Technology, and you ultimately want to go into tablet computing and desktop computing, you might have chosen a name that's limiting you. So there are a lot of examples of business names that are limiting, or names that just aren't really establishing your credibility or making you memorable in the eyes of your audience. And I just wanted to say it's hard work to change a name, and sometimes you might not be up for doing it, but if it really is holding you back, I'd encourage you to kind of think twice about this. When I changed my name, it made all the difference between a business that was just scraping by, that I wasn't excited to approach people about, I wasn't confident about, I didn't like my materials, my business cards, to one that I'm just feel like going outside and screaming at the top of my lungs because I'm so excited to share it with people. So your name is the most visible aspect of your brand. It's important to get that right, and it's important to choose a name that's going to support your future growth. So step number 8 is to build your movement. So one of the key strategies to standing out in a crowded marketplace or a crowded brain space is to really stand for something more and something bigger than you. People just don't want to be doing business with machines anymore, with robots, with widgets, with automatons. They want to do business with people who care, with people like them, people who care about something, people who care about the world, people who care about the people in the world. Given the choice between two businesses that offer similar products or services, market research has shown time and time again that people will choose the business that cares, the business that contributes to the world. And that's great news, because that allows you to have more meaning behind your business. That allows you to stand for something more than you, because sometimes when you're a solopreneur, it can feel like a lonely journey. But when you're able to wrap your business around something bigger, it gives me, I don't know about you, but it gives me the motivation to keep going every day. It gives me the feeling like I'm standing for something more, that I'm doing something bigger, that my work actually matters. And it enables me to start to see the ripple effect of my work and the people whose lives I touch, both directly and indirectly through the people that they in turn touch. So I want to know, what do you stand for? How do you make the world a bigger place? It could be as simple as contributing or donating a certain percentage of your income each year to your favorite charity, or it could mean starting your own charity, or it could simply mean a practice of going and mentoring people after school to really give back to the people that you want to support, whether that's women entrepreneurs or whether that's kids who don't have the resources and the head start in life to really be successful. So anyway, when your business stands for something more, it's like a magnet for people. It shows people that you care, and they think, if you care about the world, if you care about other people, you're going to care about them as a client. And it makes the difference sometimes between a yes and a no. Now, the next element in positioning your business for success and really adding value is to sculpt your look. Because as you saw from the product reading sequence, if people don't notice you, you don't exist, or you exist for a flash of a second, a blink of an eye, and then you're gone because they've already clicked away and aren't coming back. So how can you be noticed among those 620 million websites online? How can you be noticed in that conference room of 600 people? Right? So the internet used to be kind of ugly. It used to be full of those kind of long sales pages with flashing GIFs and arrows and big red headlines. But you might be noticing that it's looking prettier these days. Mind Valley, who's a market leader in taking entrepreneurs and building seven-figure businesses around them, said that for the very first time this year, design has become as important, if not more important, than content. That's right. So design is now more important than content. That doesn't mean you can't have rock solid content, but it does mean that content is everywhere. So one of the ways to make your content stand out is to package it in a way that people notice it. If it's just words on a page, hundreds, thousands of words on a page, it's hard to get someone's attention because most people don't have time to read hundreds or thousands of words unless you've first gotten their attention and let them know why they should keep reading. So a few key aspects for crafting a look that gets noticed are contrast, bold contrast, vivid color, using prominent shapes and patterns, or strong fonts, or words that just jump off the page because they're juicy words, words like strut and waltz and stroll, not words like walk, right? You can do better than words like walk. You can be more juicy and vivid in your language. You can create language that creates more of an emotional punch, a wallop, right, that sticks with people, that gets them excited, that gets them interested. And you can also use striking graphics or an expressive face that evokes emotion, whether that's your face or somebody else's face, right? So these are just some of the ways that you can sculpt a look, and it's important to be able to do that in the very first few hundred pixels of your website, because that's what everybody sees. If you can't capture someone in those first few hundred pixels of your website and really get noticed and not look like every single other website in your space, you're lost, You've really got to be able to do that now, unless your website is just appealing to people who already know you. If you're only trying to talk to people who already know you, instead of people who already know you, they're going to look beyond that website and get you. But if you want to build your website beyond your current client base, if you want to attract new people and continue to kind of capture leads who come in from the web, from Google, from all the places that you're sending them, then you've got to pass this 3-second test. It's really, really critical. And finally, after you've done all of that, I want you to think about how you can create an experience, how you can truly be unique. Because your brand is about more than just a look and a word. A lot of people think branding is just about creating a logo, just about naming your business, just about look and feel, but it's about much, much more than that. Branding is the culmination of all the impressions and experiences you give to people. That means every single place that you touch somebody's lives is a branding opportunity. It's a moment to influence somebody. So that could be as simple as how you craft an email, right? It could be how you respond to a client. It could be what happens after someone signs up for your class. It could be how you shake someone's hand and looks them in the eye when you first meet them. All of that is part of the experience of your brand, right? And you as the face of your brand. So I want you to think beyond the obvious, to think beyond the logo, think beyond the company name, and really look at what can I do to create an experience? What can I do to enrich somebody's lives? What can I do to influence and impact somebody at every moment along the way? And let me tell you a secret. The way to start getting a different reaction from someone is to simply start doing different things. Now, I'm not trying to underestimate your intelligence here. This is actually a proven phenomenon in the way that people learn. It's called the law of relevance. The law of relevance states that people remember most what they just experienced from you. So if you want to change, if you want to be different, the way to be different is to start doing things differently today. That means answering your next phone call differently, answering your next email differently, writing your next blog post differently. You can start being different today. All you have to do is to choose that. Choose to start creating an experience for people and choose to start doing that strategically and consistently. So they start to see you as the obvious solution, the person to come to, the expert, the leader, the authority in your field. They start to see you as, something bigger, something more, something special, someone they should listen to. So, people are willing to pay money for experiences. Think about all the times you've gone on a trip, whether it's just a weekend spa trip to, Palm Springs, or whether that's a week-long backpacking trip in Yosemite. You're willing to pay money to have experiences. But how much are you willing to pay for information? Some of the top information products go for, say, a couple $1,000s. But the reason why they go for a couple $1,000s is the experience that that person, that guru, that leader is able to wrap around that information. Not just because you're going to pick up a book off the shelf and start reading it. You know, how many books go for $2,000? None that I know of. And the reason that no book goes for $2,000 is they can't give you an experience. They can only give you words. So how can you create an experience in your business? What are all the moments, the touch points that you can build into an experience that goes beyond, you know, simply providing information? So just to give you another example, I'm giving you an experience right now on this call, right? You can't go anywhere else and have this webinar that I'm giving to you right now in the way that I'm giving it to you. You wouldn't see these slides, you wouldn't necessarily hear exactly what I'm talking about, and you wouldn't have the live chat on Facebook that we're going to start to tap into, because I'm really looking forward to answering your questions. We wouldn't have the Q&A that we're about to get into, and we wouldn't have the website audits that are coming up. You just can't get this experience anywhere else. That's the reason why I'm not just giving you a video. It's the reason why I'm not just giving you a report. I want you to be here so I can give you an experience. I can interact with you. Because this hour or two that we're spending together just gives me an opportunity to really deepen our relationship and to really talk to you in a way that I can't if you're just on my blog. So now that we've worked on the core of your business and you have a solid idea of how you can really set yourself apart with your brand and your message, I want to show you how you can easily leverage all of that into six-figure plus revenue in just 12 months. I want to show you how you can easily leverage all of this, just like I did, by putting in place 5 strategies from the brand universe graphic that I showed you at the start of this call. Then we're going to go into the Q&A session and then our 3 live website audits. So make sure to stay with us to the end. And there's still time to submit your website for a free audit. So if you want to be eligible for that, just post a link to your site on my Facebook wall. And the link is right below us in the chat window. Just post a link to your site and let me know why you want to be considered for the website audit. But before I go into those 5 strategies for marketing and promoting your business, I want to remind you how important it is that you really get clear about who you are and what you're doing in the marketplace. Because if you're not clear, you're just going to confuse people, and confused people don't buy. It's just a fact of the matter. So while it sounds simple to know who you are and what you do, so many people I see and people who come to me get stuck or simply bypass this foundation completely. And the reason why is that they fall into one of 2 opposite traps, right? Either they don't get started because they don't feel clear about their niche, their programs, their services, or they take really fast action without putting any thought whatsoever into creating or maintaining a consistent message and brand image. So they end up failing the 3-second test. So people come to their site and they immediately bounce off of it. So if either of these describe you, then just in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you how you can work with me and actually have me guide you through the process of really nailing your business strategy and transforming your business into that hit song that will pass the 3-second test every single time. So now let me show you a practical example of how one of my students, Lori Dupar, found her hit song. So Lori was ready to go from being a hobbyist business owner with a really outdated website. You can see that there in the before picture. She wanted to go from having that outdated website to really building a bigger platform for her vision and her expertise. So as a student in my program, and with my help, she reinvented her brand and created an identity that is now well known in her industry. As she puts it, she couldn't imagine doing what she's accomplished over the last year without this new reinvented platform to stand on. Now, if you take a look at the difference between the example on the left and the example on the right. On the left, her business was called Change of Focus, and her tagline was something like, where a new perspective makes all the difference. Now let me ask you, do you know what that means? Are you interested? Do you care? Would you even have realized that she was helping people with ADHD? You probably wouldn't. And worse yet, she chose this kind of pale blue periwinkle color scheme that just was calming. She thought that she wanted to calm her attention, which is people with calm her audience down, which is people with ADHD. But the reality is that she needed to grab their attention even more because they were more distracted than the average audience. She needed to really have a website that told them exactly what she did, that she was speaking to them, and grab them through colors and graphics. So that's exactly what you can see that we did. And you can see that after shot, right? It's a world of difference between the before and the after. So she's now launched 2 books, including an Amazon #1 bestseller, a telesummit that she holds every single year, and she has several projects. So this has enabled her to double her rates, and she's seen a 250% increase in her income and a tenfold increase in her list size. So more importantly, she's been able to apply this brand across her entire product suite to create a sales funnel that's elevated her to go-to expert status. And she's developing new products every single month. I'm really, really proud of Lori because the systems that we created for her gave her the confidence to really launch herself and stand for something beyond what she does. Everything from her PowerPoint presentation template to her conference banners, to her product packaging, to her website, all of her materials work together to make her stand out from everyone else in her industry. It really works to do this stuff. So together in my program, Message to Money, we worked to solve her 3-second problem in a way that made her brand into that hit song. And soon, like, everyone is singing about it. Like, I just went to a Suzanne Evans event, and Suzanne Evans was talking about Lori Dupar from the stage and how great she was doing. So I'd like to do the same thing for you. And this is the first time in 2 years that I'm offering my program, Message to Money, the same program that's helped Lori do all of this. So up until this point, I've been working with individuals in small groups and getting consistently great results for them. But people have been telling me their friends need something like this, so I decided to reopen my Message to Money program for the first time in 2 years. This time around, I'm going to just accept 100 students who are super motivated and ready to take action. And I'm not giving you false scarcity here. I really want to give you and to deliver top-notch, kick-ass results for your business because I want you to be a success story. I want you to really be out there with your business in a huge way. And this means that I'm going to pull out all the stops to ensure that your online dreams become a reality. So in this program, we're going to spend the next 10 weeks together working on your business to discover what your hit song looks like and how it can get out there in a massive way. So in just the first 10 weeks alone, here's what you're going to learn. In session 1, we're going to go in depth into the 3 seconds to success that we touched on earlier. You're going to discover exactly how your tribe sees you in those critical first 3 seconds and, more importantly, what you can do to capture their attention and their hearts. History is filled with stories of people who woke up one day and said, "Why did I spend so much time working on my business?" So in session 2, I'm going to take you by the hand and show you the step-by-step path to success without compromising your life. Most people feel a calling compelling them forward to become a market leader. And in session 3, you'll learn how you can not only stand out in today's crowded marketplace, but how you can stand for something more. As we create and refine your message, you'll find out how easy it is to become the only choice for what you do, and you'll even start to see how to charge more for what you do, even doubling your rates and getting it. Your tribe is out there and wants to connect with you, and in session 4, you'll discover how quickly your brand emerges from your personal story. And I'll show you how to really use your brand in everything that you do, from the nuts and bolts of crafting your brand strategy, to choosing your business name, to creating a logo, and making your collateral. In session 5, we'll cover what you need to have on your website so people buy. I'll show you what works and how to get your site selling with integrity, not being sleazy. I don't want that. You want to sell with integrity. In session 6, it's time to grow your tribe and connect with more like-minded people. You're going to learn how your message spreads and how you can have a huge impact. I see it this way. If you have something important to share, you have an obligation to share it with the world. And I'm going to show you how to do it in a way that opens the floodgates so that people find you. Then finally, in session 7, you're going to learn that the only thing stopping you from going viral is your ability to package your message and get it in front of the thought leaders in your market. So I've helped people experience this kind of explosion, and I'd like to help you discover the impact you can have on your market and the world at large. If you've been frustrated by your attempts to experience success online, Message to Money is completely different. It's not driven by the flavor of the week that's becoming so popular on the internet. I understand that most people have tried to succeed and become frustrated by all the hype and dishonesty out there. I mean, there are a lot of people just selling dreams. I also understand that you aren't seeking to become a techie, and you don't want to start learning how to code your website from scratch or to start understanding API codes. You just want results, and there are two reasons that you haven't gotten them yet. Number one, this stuff is just so hard to figure out by yourself without the input of a community and to even get started sometimes, especially when you have a business to run and a life to live. And number two, there are so many programs out there that just give you one piece of the big picture, whether that's creating a product or getting on Facebook or whatever that flavor of the month strategy is these days, and it changes all the time. So I decided to create a program that will finally connect the dots for you and give you only what you need to know to create a business that works better to bring in more money while supporting your lifestyle. Most importantly, together we'll build a business that you love, that positions you as a leading authority in your particular niche, whatever that is. And I'm not done yet. In addition to the 10-week program, in which you get all 7 video training sessions described above, you'll also receive 7 2-hour group calls where I'll be taking that week's learning and going deeper and wider to make sure that you not only get that week's training, but you also understand how to implement it in your business. You'll be able to ask me all your questions on the call, and the call is going to last really as long as it takes, as you can see at the end of this call, because I stay on the line until all of your questions are answered, because this is about you. And because most programs stop right when you're getting started, I really, really want you to be successful. I'm going to be hosting a members-only Q&A call once a month for 6 months after the program has finished. So together we're going to continue to workshop your business to refine your message, brand, and strategies. Think of this like one of those kind of exclusive group coaching programs that charge $10,000 a year, but it's free for you as part of your tuition. And you'll get a lot more one-on-one attention too, and access to our fabulous community that I'm super, super excited about, the people who are already joined this program. And for those people who want to do this and want to take action today, I'm going to throw in an advanced sneak peek copy of my new product called Hidden Story Power. It's an in-depth guide that will show anyone who's scared of video and thinks they wouldn't be any good at it a step-by-step method to make powerful, compelling videos that pull in new clients like a magnet. This program is packed full of industry insider tips and secrets that will instantly transform your story into profit. And second, to help make this even more of a no-brainer decision for you, for the first 7 people on this call who register using the one-pay option, I'm going to give you a bonus that I rarely give, a full hour-long strategy session with me. This call is totally directed by you. Sometimes we cover brands, sometimes website, other times we talk at a really high strategic level, solving the more fundamental problems first. It really depends on you and what you feel like you need. But here's what I can tell you. Everyone who has done this hour with me says it was worth the entire cost of their tuition just for the clarity and the sense of purpose it gave them. So to claim your free hour-long call with me along with your seat in the Message to Money program, go to messagetomoney.com. As registrations come in, I'm going to announce them live on air. Finally, I know that you've been exposed to these programs before and they can all start to sound and look the same, so I'm going to pull out all the stops to convince you to give this a try. I'm going to offer you a full 12-month money-back guarantee. No messy 30 or 60-day guarantees where you're expected to kind of judge the program before you've even started to see results. I'm going to give you a full year so you can go through the entire course, benefit from the entire 6 months of support calls, and study Hidden Story Power. Then and only then do I want you to look back and tell me if it was worth it. If you didn't think that Message to Money exceeded your expectations, just let me know and I'll personally refund every single penny you paid. And trust me, you're going to make more than you spent on this. Because your cost for this tuition is really, really low. Normally I charge $15,000 to work one-on-one with clients where I work intensively with them for a period of 4 months to build their brand and web presence with them. But I realize that not everyone can afford $15,000. And because I want to create as many success stories as possible, your investment today is just $497, or 3 payments of $179. That's right, the entire investment to enroll in Message to Money is just $497. For the price of an iPad, you're going to get me and my personal attention, advice, and knowledge working on your business like a laser all the way through the middle of next year. So the reason why I'm doing this, like I said, is that I really, really, really want to create more success stories and help more people, because as much as I love my 12 to 24 clients that I can work with every single year, I want to help more people. So listen, if you've been if you feel like you're not passing that 3-second test, then really I invite you to seize this moment so your message and your vision inspires your ideal client to work with you. Students who followed my advice and work alongside me see rapid results. Imagine the instant influx of interest when that hit song gets out there, and within a few weeks, you can start raising your rates higher than you thought was possible. So join me on this program, and I guarantee you'll quickly recoup your investment and more. I know you're in this for the long haul. You're not after that flash-in-the-pan success, but a sustainable business that continues to grow and evolve year after year, and you need that platform to support you. That's what Message to Money is all about. It's all about creating your highest vision of a business without making you a slave to your business. So hop on over to messagetomoney.com now and make this one-time investment in your business future. Now I want to quickly show you how choosing 5 strategies from your brand universe can and will lead to 6+ figure revenue in just 12 months. Then we're going to go into your Q&A and our 3 live website audits. So we've talked about the center of your brand universe. Now let's talk about how to get your hit song to the top of the charts through the right marketing strategies. Now, I'm not going to give you a one-size-fits-all solution, because we all know that one-size-fits-all really doesn't fit anyone, and there aren't these magic bullet solutions that people promise. But I did want to share 9 of the most effective strategies for growing your business and getting your message out there. So the key to picking your strategies is to look at where you are, then to focus in on the top 5 strategies that are going to get you to that next level of growth, whether that's your $2 million book deal or whether that's simply your next 10 clients. So if you already have a website that's capturing leads every single day, then you might want to focus on something else, such as systematizing your email efforts, or launching your first group coaching program, or building that info product that you've been wanting to do. Really, I don't want you to worry about trying to do everything, because this is the biggest problem that I see, is that people are telling you that you've got to do this, and you've got to do that, and you've got to do this and that and this and that and this and that, and it's overwhelming. So if you try too many strategies at once, you're going to do just a little bit in each one, and it's not going to work. You're not going to have enough leverage, you're not going to have enough buzz, you're not going to have enough momentum to really get you to the top of the charts. And that's what we want for you. So what I can tell you is that if you take a moment now to pick the 5 strategies that you want to work on, just 5, you can pick any of the 5 that are on the screen and implement them consistently and strategically, you will have a 6-figure business in just 12 months. I've seen this work over and over again. So I'm going to quickly cover each one of these strategies. I go into all of them in depth in Message to Money if you want to go deeper, but I want to give you the bird's eye view so you can decide what you want to focus on for the next period of time. So the very first thing is your logo and promotional materials. So these are things like your business card, your flyers, your freebies, all the tchotchkes that you give away if you want to give away tchotchkes. I personally don't. Even if you don't have a website, you can give these things away to people to give them a way to get back in touch with you, to give them a reason to give you a call. Or if you do have that website, this is a way to get people back to your website once you meet them offline, right? You want to constantly be driving people back into your world. And then you've got your website and your blog, which in the online world, it's like having a roof over your head. It's your home, and you want it to feel that way, both for you and the people who come over for a visit. You want them to walk in and feel like they want to stay. Your blog is your forum for regularly sharing what you love with the people you love. Yes, that's a totally different way of looking at blogging than I don't have time to blog, I don't know what to write about, and no one's reading this anyway. I don't want you to think about it this way. I want you to think about this as your platform, your forum to share what you love with the world. And then you've got your email list, or all the people who've signed up to hear from you. Everyone who said, yes, I'm interested, tell me more. There's definitely an art to getting that first yes, and then there's an art to getting that yes over and over and over again as people choose to open your emails and choose to click through to your emails to your website, where you might be telling them more about something, or having them read something. Then you've got your products and services, or what you sell, how you make money, and how you serve your clients on the deepest possible level, solving problems, offering solutions, making transformation possible every single day. So almost all of you have products and services, and almost all of you really want to work on this section. But the key is to working on your product and services in a way that there's a clear pathway from the time someone steps into the front door of your business on your website, or whether they meet you in person, all the way through to signing up to do something with you. Whatever that first thing looks like, to signing up to do something else with you. Then you have live events and speaking. So one of the best ways to build a following is to interact with them live in person. You don't even have to do your own events. You can be a guest speaker at someone else's events. And if you're shy and you don't want to be at stage, you can still be a sponsor at someone else's events. So there's a lot of ways to get in front of people, and these are just a few. And you don't have to get in front of them face-to-face either. You can also do virtual events such as webinars, teleseminars, and telesummits. Like, I'm able to speak with over 100 people at once, sometimes 300 or more people at once, by doing a webinar like what we're doing right now. And it's also one of the quickest and easiest ways to build your list with hot leads, right? Because people are coming to you, they've had a chance to really hear you and listen to you. So even if you don't have a list of partners, you can still invite your friends and ask them to invite their friends and get a following that way. But of course, the best way to do virtual events is through partnerships and referrals. The more you can build relationships that allow you to serve more people, the fastest you'll reach your business goals. Partners really help you explode your impact quickly. Another way to scale your business is through social media and video marketing. Platforms like Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, Pinterest, Google+. They instantly give you access to hundreds, if not thousands of people, and when you know the right places to look within each of these platforms, the places where your exact ideal client is hanging out, you can really explode your impact. Still, another way to leverage your time is through press and media. If you're able to get an article written about you in a website or publication that your ideal clients read, you can instantly become a trusted authority in their eyes. I know what you're thinking, but Marisa, I don't exactly have journalists pounding down my door, but let me tell you, there are places you can go to find reporters who are looking for someone just like you with your areas of expertise. So here's a couple examples of 5 strategies, and you can choose the 5 that work for you. I'm just showing you that there are a lot of possibilities here. And you can choose what's going to work for you based on where you are, what you're already doing, and where you need to grow to achieve that next level, that destination, those goals that we talked about earlier on this call. So like I said, I cover every one of these strategies in depth in Message to Money, and we also brainstorm how to implement them in your business in the coaching calls. So if you're on the fence about trying this, about working with me, I can only encourage you to give it a try, because the thing is, if I don't deliver, I don't get paid, and you have a full 12 months to decide, so there's no risk for you. So now I wanted to open the floor and take your questions. Before we go on to the live website audits, I just wanted to cover a few of the most burning questions here, and I've got my partner over there writing them down for me. So post your questions in the Facebook group, and I'm going to go into them. All right, so first question is, oh great, actually my partner said that there's already been a few sales. So Rick, Maria, and Lucy, congratulations for joining the Message to Money program. Thanks so much. I really look forward to going in depth in your business. So now let's go into your questions. I've got one here from Lordiel, and I think Lordiel, you've been posting things to me over Google+. I recognize your name. So you said, how does one market an audiobook? And she also wrote, how do I live my message as a radio host, blogger on Twitter and LinkedIn, but it does not bring in paying clients. I love what I do, and this is why I continue to do spiritual work, making a difference and helping people that are ready to be helped. So I think your question is about marketing an audiobook. So an audiobook is primarily a product, right? So I'm a little bit confused by the question. I'm sorry. So you're saying you're a radio host, you're a blogger, you are on Twitter and you're LinkedIn, but you're not bringing in clients. So my main question for you, Lordiel, is first whether you've gotten to the core of your business. and whether you've really, how are you helping people? You say that you do spiritual work, so I want to know what your audio book is about and how the marketing that you're doing on LinkedIn and Twitter is, okay, actually my partner's going to unmute you so you can ask me directly. Lordiel, are you there?
Yes, I am. Hi, can you hear me?
Huh? Yes, I can hear you. I'm sorry I had trouble understanding your
Ah,
question. Go ahead and tell me.
okay, totally awesome. Yeah, I just completed my audio book. It's the title is a chance to be better. Trust your journey. And I work with people. I do energy work. I read energy. So on my Blog Talk radio program, people will come and ask questions, and I channel energy from higher, sources, and I will answer their questions. Plus, I also lead them to find their own answers within themselves. And I've been doing this for quite a few
So,
years now, freely.
okay, so your question is how to market the audiobook. Can you tell me the name of your audiobook
Yes,
one more time?
a chance to be better. Trust your journey.
So let me ask you a question. We just talked about hook and crafting your offer. What does
Mhm.
that title for your audiobook, A Chance to Be Better, Trust Your Journey, what is that signaling to people? Is it telling them a clear benefit? Just looking at the title, what's the reason to buy your audiobook? What's the specific promise that you're making to people?
Well, a lot of people don't feel that they're worthy of love or worthy to receive what they want in life. So, this is a part of a chance to be better. And trusting your journey is not to be in fear anymore, to step out of fear
Hmm.
and to take that
So
chance.
So, Lordiel, what you're telling me, it's not really standing out. It doesn't sound different from somebody else. Like, I can't tell specifically how you're going to help me or what my life would look like if I did energy work with you or if I listened to your audiobook, what the specific transformation or benefit in my life is going to be. And I
Mhm.
imagine if I can't tell, some of your audience can't tell too. So if you're doing, you could be doing a blog talk radio show every single week, but if it's not clear, the benefit of your program, and if you don't have that messaging and positioning right, it's hard for people to buy because they have so many offers every single day. And you have to stand out and you have to make them a specific promise and really understand what your work does for them, because if you don't, I think the issue isn't with the marketing that you're doing. I think the issue is with the way that you're messaging and positioning your ebook and some of your other products, because energy work can create so many different openings for people, whether that's getting more grounded and in touch with them so they don't feel as frantic throughout the day and they can actually bring their best self to work every day and be productive on the things that matter most, and to let the things that don't matter you know disappear or just
Mhm.
fold into the background. You see, that's more specific, right? So if your audiobook was something
Right.
like the 7 ways to shift your energy in a matter of minutes so you can bring more productivity and presence to your work and the people you love. I mean, I'm just making that up off the top of my head. But you see how all of a sudden
Mhm.
that has more of a hook?
Right, right. I understand. I see.
So I need to move on to
Okay.
some of the other people on the call, but
Thank
I
you.
would recommend renaming that. All right?
All right.
So
Thank you very
you,
much. I appreciate that.
no problem. Okay, great. So I see that Anna Graham has also purchased as well. So congratulations, Anna. You'll be getting a 1 hour with me too. So let's go on to the next question. So I have a question from Dana, who said, have you helped cinematographers in the past? It seems a bit different than your normal product and service situation. Well, Dana, I don't know if you know this about me, but I was a documentary filmmaker for 7 years. So I've hired a lot of different cinematographers to work with me on set, and I understand that world well. I think a lot of the principles still apply. I've actually also built websites for several different filmmakers, including documentary filmmaker Lynn Goldfarb, because this is my background, my personal history. But the thing about being a cinematographer, and the thing that I learned from all my years as a documentary filmmaker, is that style and tone is just as important as message. So many films Like, of course you have to have a great script. Of course, if it's a documentary, you need to have a great topic and story matter. But it's really the cinematography, it's really the kind of directorial decisions that make or break that product. So if you're able to develop a particular style, I'm sure you already have that style, but if you're able to convey that style of your work to the people that you work with in a way that's different, you're going to be able to get more clients. And I don't know where you're working or what kind of films you're working on, but it's still the same principles, because you've got to be able to convey your value and convey how you're different from everybody else out there. And a good director, and I know because I've been a director, is going to choose someone who's going to take their vision and bring it into life in a way that adds a whole nother element and level of depth to it. So that goes beyond having a great reel. It also goes to the first thing in marketing is to show that you understand your customer and you understand your customer's business. So what I would recommend and what I want to work with you on is getting to know your customer, the directors and producers who are going to hire you, and understanding how they're making their decisions and what they're looking for, so you can speak exactly to their needs and their wants and to use their words exactly. So you show up not just as being able to give them the stylistic element that they need, but also being able to do things like show up on time to set and have that level of responsibility that not all cinematographers have. So anyway, yes, I've worked with cinematographers directly before, and yes, a lot of these principles still apply. So moving on to the next question, I've got something from, I don't know if it's Ellie or Eli, but will this cover the logistical how-tos along with the what to do, like how to set up social media sites, etc.? Absolutely, Eli. I go a lot into the how-tos because I understand the what and the why is important, but it's not going to get you to that next level of success in your business. So I show you how to set up and customize your social media profiles, but more importantly, I show you how to really choose a content strategy that's going to focus your efforts around building an audience specific to your offerings and what you do for people. Because if you could have great looking social media accounts and you could be posting every day, but what I find is that people are putting content out there that's not super focused and strategic, and so they end up building a really eclectic audience that doesn't ultimately want what they have to offer. So more people in this case is not better. It's about building the right kind of audience, and I'm going to show you how to do that, both the how-tos of what to write about, how often to write about, but also how to set up those social media accounts in the best way possible, and beyond setting up the accounts and producing content, how to actually get out there by leveraging the social media audiences of key partners as well. So I hope that answered your question. I see another one from Anastasia. Can a wedding photographer use your system? How? So Anastasia, this is similar to the question I just got from the cinematographer. So this is gonna sound like I've done everything, but believe it or not, my first love was photography, and I started as a photographer at the age of 15 and actually won an award from the National Foundation for the Advancements of the Arts, and I thought I was going to be a photographer for the longest time. But really with photography and wedding photography in particular, it's about the unique twists that you bring to your audience. So both about the style of your imagery, but I think more importantly it's about the experience that you create, which is one of the positioning tools that we talked about, because a wedding is an incredibly special time for somebody, and they don't want to hire someone who can just get the job done but is going to be a nightmare to work with on the day of the wedding. Like a good friend of mine is a DJ, and she does a lot of DJing for weddings. And one of the things that we talked about that's made her just kind of be in constant demand, getting a wedding pretty much every single weekend up in the Bay Area, is what she brings to the table and a lot of the preparation she does ahead of time with the wedding party. So they feel like you're not just showing up and doing same old photography in the way that everybody else does, but you're actually taking into consideration what they want, the kinds of images that they're looking for, what's important to them to show, and really respecting the fact that this is one of the most important days of their life. So again, it's about understanding your audience and your audience's needs and really what the most important criteria are, and identifying in a strategic way what other wedding photographers aren't doing. What are they not doing? What are they not providing? What can you do that's going to give a whole element of peace of mind and value to your clients that they're not doing? And I can think of a lot of options for you, but really, yes, there are absolutely a lot of ways to set yourself apart as a wedding photographer that go beyond your level of talent. And honestly, it's not just the talent, but it's everything else that's going to make people decide whether to work with you or not to work with you. So I'm looking for the next question. I've got something from Arthur, who asks, what are effective ways to rise above the clutter to pitch a story regarding a product? I'm in the energy efficiency field. Thank you. So pitching a story, do you mean pitching a story to a journalist? I'm not sure what you mean by pitching a story. Can you specify? We're actually going to try to open the line for you so you can explain this. Hi, Arthur. I can't hear you. Can you speak a little bit louder or speak more directly into the mic? Okay. So I don't think we're going to be able to hear you. I'm sorry. If you could write kind of a clarifying answer on Facebook, we'll come right back to your question. Sorry about that. We just can't hear you. So I've got a question here from Wayne, who asks, is it better to market a virtual assistant service through the net or more traditional marketing? Postcards, direct mail. I believe my market is small to medium businesses. I think that both ways are going to be super effective for you, because traditional marketing, you have to know, though, where to send. You know, you need a mailing list for traditional marketing, which is the only challenge. So you need to have the addresses and names of people who fit your profile. That's easier if you specialize in a particular niche than if you're going after all of small to medium businesses. The one advantage of trying to market your service online is it's demonstrating that you know how to do what you're going to do for them. So if your small to medium-sized business is looking for a virtual assistant, most likely they're already online because they've heard of virtual assistants. A lot of the kind of small to medium-sized brick-and-mortar businesses that would respond more to direct traditional marketing, they have in-person assistants and teams. So what you're looking for as a VA most likely is a certain segment or niche within the kind of online business world. So I would focus first on online businesses, but of course once you get the addresses of your audience and the people who are interested in what you can do, you can expand your marketing to include traditional as well. Okay, so Kelly asked, what website elements get people's attention in 3 seconds? So I would say the place to start first is the first 300 pixels of your website, because 90% of people can see the first 300 pixels of your website. A lot of people use this real estate and just put their logo and tagline in this first 300 pixels. And if you just put your logo and tagline in, then you're using the entire space to kind of talk about you. And even if your logo, company name, and tagline speaks to your audience, you want to get into something more quickly that benefits you. So there's a trend now to kind of minimize your branding at the top of your website, and you'll see that example on my website and many of the websites that I've built. So you can more quickly get into something that directly solves a problem for your audience and that's going to capture their attention. So most often that's going to look like an opt-in box or a place where someone can sign up for your list and get a gift that solves a very, very specific problem, and that also kind of funnels into the rest of your products and services. So I would start there. Obviously, you want to have a great standout company name, logo, tagline. You want to make sure you're using color and graphics super well to have contrast, to pop, to be noticeable. And then you're going to want to put that opt-in box above the fold, so you're really giving somebody something right away that they want, and that's going to solve their problem. So they start to see you as the person who can solve their problems. Okay, so my partner here just said we've got 3 more people who've joined the program: Gail, Bill, and Marilyn. So all of you will get the 1-hour session with me, so congratulations. And there are only 3 fast action bonuses left, so that means if you pay with the OnePay option and sign up in the next few minutes, you still have a shot at getting an hour-long strategy call with me. And as you can see, we can really move mountains in even a few minutes. So if we have a full hour to focus exclusively on you, I know that I can shift things for you. So I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then we're going to get to the live website audit. So here we go. I got something from Linda. Linda writes, my two main hurdles is not having the skills to implement technically, and I am a lousy writer. How is your program going to help me implement? So, Linda, one common mistake that I see is that a lot of people get hung up on the technology or try to do everything themselves. You know, even if I actually have 6 virtual assistants who've joined the program and who have amazing technical skills, but there are people that you can reach out to. Even if you have a small amount of money to invest in your own success, there are people you can reach out to focus on the technology. But one of the things that you're going to learn in my program is that technology is not as important as you think. When you have your message down, when you really know how to communicate in those first few seconds, there's a minimum amount of technology you need to get your message out there, but that's not nearly as important as what you do and how you position yourself. So I'm definitely going to give you the how-tos and help point you in the direction of resources that will help you implement technically, and you're going to be able to leverage the community. We have a lot of people here on the Facebook group who are there to kind of support each other. And in terms of the writing skills, writing is obviously super important. I don't know if you're good on video, but there are a lot of different ways that you can get out to people. If you're not confident in your writing skills, a couple of the things that I recommend is A, feature a video of yourself more prominently, or B, talk and record yourself. Use freeconferencecall.com to record yourself. And then have someone transcribe that audio, because that could be the starting point. If you're good with people, talk and transcribe that, and that could be the starting point of the copy on your website. And if you're better, not just talking to nobody, but talking to a friend, then actually have a friend there with you and record your conversation with your friend. And there's not much you have to do there technically. It's simply calling free conference call and speaking. So there are a lot of simple ways to do what you need to do without getting too hung up on the technology. And let me tell you, when you get really dialed into what you're about, the technology considerations become easier. And I'm actually going to, in one of the training calls, I'm going to open the kimono in my online business and show you the tools and systems that I use to streamline all my processes to make everything easier. So I'm definitely going to show you what I do, and I'm going to point you in the direction of the best technologies to use that are going to be the least frustrating and also give you the most results. So I will help you as much as I can with that step by step. Now, there's one more question, and then we're going to get into the website audits. So my partners here are choosing three people right now for us to work with. So Sheila asks, I'm not only trying to grow my business as a real estate virtual assistant, but I am creating a training program for other virtual assistants. Would your program help with both of those goals? Absolutely. Obviously, to grow a business, you need something to sell. So the first step in having something to sell for a lot of people is one-on-one services and done-for-you services. But quickly, that can become too much because you only have a limited number of hours in a day. So one of the things that I really focus on is how to create a pathway through your business that's scalable and leverageable. So you're not just focused on something that's a limited commodity, which is you. If you're ready for it, you can choose to create training programs that show other people how to do what you do or lead people through a specific process. So one of the things that I want to do, especially when I show you how to set up your site well, is to create that product engagement funnel, to create that pathway that people walk through your products and services from the point where they enter your world to making that first decision to making that next decision. The one challenge for you, but I don't think it's really a challenge, is to have both messages and both audiences living on the same website, because you're talking to two very different ideal client demographics. You're talking to real estate agents, and you're also talking to virtual assistants. So if you have a brand positioned to real estate agents that's really effective, you're also going to have a different set of content and a different marketing strategy that's going to reach that group. But we can go into how to have different audiences, in the program. All right, so we want to start in on the website audits, because this is one of my favorite things to do, is to really show you how to make your site better. Because one of the things that I say all the time is you could be doing marketing until your eyes bleed all day, every day. But if your website is a leaky bucket, what I mean by a leaky bucket is that if people are going to your website and your website's not converting them, say 1,000 people go to your website and you only capture 50 people onto your email list, or half a percentage, that means the other 9,000 I can't do math. The other 995 people are pretty much lost for you forever, you know, because most likely people come to you, but then they leave and they don't come back. So it's really important to capture their names and email addresses so you have a way to get back in touch with them. The secret of marketing is not just directing traffic that's targeted, but it's directing traffic that's going to convert. Because once it converts into, say, leads or mailing lists, then you can actually start to market to those people. You can give them value. You can build a relationship in a way that leads to sales and clients. So, yes, so I want to go into the website audits. Do you have the first one for me? Oh, I just want to confirm that people can still hear me. Can you still hear me? Type into the keypad if you can still hear me. Okay, fabulous. So we're going to take our first website audits now. What's the first one? Can you throw a URL into the chat window? Okay, we've got upperhandspiano.com. Gailey Schoen. So let's see what you got. Hold on. Ah. Are you, first of all, Gailey, are you here? I want to type into the chat window below if you're here. We've unmuted you. I want to make sure you're here. Hello? Gailey, we've unmuted you. If I don't hear from you in just the next moment, we're going to have to move on to somebody else. I think I hear you. I hear you typing, but I can't hear you speaking. Gailey, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Great.
Great.
Okay. So we're here on your website. I think it just went from the splash page to the main page. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So first of all, splash pages are really starting to go out of style. And the reason why is that you're not really giving people any content or any value on that splash page. The only reason to have that splash page is if you're going to be capturing email addresses on that page and really use it as more of a squeeze page. But I still, if this is your main branded website, don't tend to make the first page a squeeze page because you also want people to realize it's a website and they can continue to explore and get more value. Next thing that I wanted to point out, but before I do, I wanted to quickly ask you, is there anything specific that you want to know or any specific goals that you have? Like, where is your business now and where do you want it to go?
I have written my first book, and right now I'm really focusing on writing the second book, so I'm not doing a lot of marketing, but I feel probably I should be. It's just that I'm limited with time. But what I'd like is for nationally people to be hearing about the book and able to purchase it. That right now they can purchase it on Amazon, but I haven't been doing any like national marketing. And I was focusing on the piano teachers themselves, but I've been told by another marketing expert that I should focus on the end user, on the client, the actual student.
Okay, so I can't tell you yet which is the case in terms of which audience to focus on, but how are your book sales doing?
I'm selling between like 15 to 30 per month without marketing, so that's good.
Okay. And what's the price point on Amazon for the book?
$23.95, and then now there's tax.
Okay, great. So I think it's showing that there definitely is a market for your book, which is awesome. And why, just out of curiosity, so is your main priority to bring in more book sales right now or to get another product to kind of build out your funnel?
I think book sales. So I'm trying to backpedal from actually being a piano teacher and focus more on the book sales. And then eventually I'd like to have piano teachers that I've trained across the nation. I just don't have the time to do it yet.
Okay, awesome. I think that's a really great goal, and piano is something that is super specific and that I think you're going to be able to get out there very easily. So let me look at your website. the first thing that I see is that the first several hundred pixels is used up by this banner. Like the banner is more of a square than it is a rectangle, so you're using a amount of real estate to convey just upper hands piano, a method for adults 50 plus to spark the mind, heart, and soul. So that's a lot of space that you're using. And I want to show you something. I want to show you this tool, Google Browser Labs, because I want to show you kind of how other people are seeing your website. I have a really big screen, which looks gigantic, so I tend to see a lot of different real estate, but a lot of people don't have such a big screen. So see, here's your website in Google Browser Labs, right? Sorry. So basically, you can see here, you're using the first 350 pixels just for that banner. You're not really getting into what you do and how you can help people. You see it's a method. People don't necessarily know it's a book sale. There's not an opt-in or a call to action. So that's just too much space for this banner here. And then if we look at the next, 50% of people see we have a piano method book, right? For adults 50 to help you learn or relearn. So basically it's taking you a lot of time to get there, and this is actually below the fold for a lot of different people. And it's not clear right off from your website. We have a piano method book. It takes a lot of space to get there, but the click here is way down below. So the call to action for them to look at the book is pretty far down the page, right?
Right.
And there isn't a way for them to sign up or for them to get kind of value apart from reading about this or taking a look at the Piano Hands book. What is the one kind of standout feature of your book? Like, what do you do differently? How's your method different?
It's different because it uses a lot of brain cognitive exercises to help adults retain concepts into long-term memory. So adults over 50 are often concerned about preventing Alzheimer's, and they're often told that piano is a great way to boost the brain. And so I use brain exercises and work with a neuroscientist to help them learn to play the piano while they're also boosting their brain.
Right. Okay, that's really cool. That sounds great. But so one of the problems that they're coming to you with, you can see here that you're not really speaking their language either. You say, we have a piano method book for adults 50 plus. It's really about you. So to help you learn or relearn to play classical, folk, rock, show tunes, and the Great American Songbook while exercising your brain, it's kind of further down the page, and it doesn't sound like you're speaking their language. If you're speaking their language, it could be something like, want to learn the piano but feel like you're too old, Do you have trouble remembering your scales and want kind of a way to instantly, retain what you're learning? Do you want a new hobby that's going to help you exercise your brain, that's while having fun? So if you start by having some of the benefits more closer to the top, I think that would help you as well, and to really get an opt-in box up there too, so you can start sending value to people. And I see here that you have a blog. Or are there any blog posts or no? Oh,
yes, there are.
So it seems like a lot of clicking to get to the blog, You click on the blog and then you have to click again to read a blog post. So you want to give people what they're looking for in as few clicks as possible, right? If they have to click and then click again and then click again to read something, it's too many clicks. Even getting a single click can be hard. So that's why you want to give people as much as possible in the first, 300 to 500 pixels of your website, but also make it very, very clear where to click and what to do next. On your site, I have some trouble kind of figuring out what to do next.
Right.
And I also am not seeing a reason to come back to your website. It seems like, excuse the pun, but it seems like a one-note site, where it's just about the, it's terrible, I know. it's just about the book, right? So if you have...
I have, if you can see, it says free sheet music download, and all my Facebook friends, they're told each month, okay, come and get this free sheet music for this month is this and this, but I can see it's not readily apparent on my homepage.
Yeah, I didn't even see it actually, this free updates on free song downloads in the latest.
It's the
music
upper,
on the brain.
It's in the navigation bar on the left towards the top.
Okay, free sheet music download.
Yeah.
Um, so basically, I mean, this could be a box on your home page as well if this is a value add. And is this an opt-in for people, or are you giving it away for free?
Yeah,
So
it's for
what
it's for free.
one thing that I'd recommend, I mean, this could be a possible opt-in gift for you if you said, okay, you know, sign up now to get the top 5 songs that, you know, that are going to exercise your brain, that are easy to learn, you know, something like that. So you've basically curated 5 particular songs for them to work on that really exemplify your practice, and then you give them
Uh-huh.
some tips on how to learn those songs. You know, you see what I mean? There's yeah, I didn't notice the free sheet music download because there's a lot of different items in that left sidebar, and I'm
Yeah.
also being, you know, grabbed by that yellow and red box.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, was this helpful?
So helpful. Thank you so much.
No problem, but what you're doing is awesome. And if you're making 50 to 30 sales a month without any kind of marketing, you clearly have stumbled on a niche, or not stumbled on, you've you know, discovered and chosen a niche that's really can be profitable if you can, you know, restructure the site a little bit and really get your message out there and speak in a language that people understand and are looking for.
Mhm. Cool. Thank you.
No problem. Well, we're going to go on to the next website audit. So
Okay.
who do we have next? Okay, I see Jan Adlak. You're up next. We're going to unmute your mic, and I hear you already.
Yes, I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what your business is about, what you want to achieve, and kind of where you are.
I'm in a huge transition right now. I used to be, or I am a writer for parenting articles for regional parenting magazines. However,
Hmm.
I have now become a VA that I want to work with speakers so I can repurpose their information into blog posts, into newsletters, and into possible products.
Okay. You should work with the woman who was here and looking for you know, writing support, because there are so many people who need what you have to offer. So when I look at professional writer, parenting expert, and mom of 5, and are you looking for people who are specifically speaking about parenting,
No,
about relationships?
I this is a website that I initially actually I won it as a prize, but so I'm transitioning this website. So I want to work with any type of speakers right now.
Yep.
I would prefer, so
Okay.
yes, it's not clear now. I see after listening to your website, I mean after your webinar, that there's a lot of things I need to change.
Absolutely. Well, just looking at it, there are mixed signals and mixed messages that are going out here, because when you write
Hmm.
professional writer, parenting expert, mom of 5, but your opt-in gift is 3 easy ways to improve your speaker online presence.
And
Um, uh,
I just wrote that.
okay, great. And also, even I would draw more attention to that opt-in box. It's not very visual right now. It's all type-based, and a lot of this top 500 pixels of your website is a lot of type. So I don't
Mhm.
really know where to look. I read your name and professional writer, parenting expert, mom of 5, but I don't know how you can help me,
Okay.
right? So
Hmm.
I think, what are you selling writing services, or is this a mommy blog, or I don't know what it is here.
Hmm.
And then your articles are on, you know, the first article's on men's health. So I don't know how men's health is relevant to the parenting and being a mom, and then I see the thing about speakers. So I know that you're in transition, so it's a hard time to probably evaluate your site.
Hmm.
But one thing that I can tell you is you have amazing credibility. When I scroll down to the bottom of your website and I see all of these clients, these magazines that you've worked for, so you've really been able to get a lot of press, right? And
Hmm.
be in the press partly because you've written for the press. So if you are able to position yourself as having this inside knowledge of getting press and knowing how to write in a way that it gets picked up,
Hmm.
because the first, you know, to get on stage and then to raise your value as a speaker, you know, if you're in the media and you're already seen as an expert, you're going to be seen as having more value already. And also, if you want to be getting big stages and you want to draw attention to yourself, you know, media and PR can be a great way to do that. So I would find a way to merge your background as a professional writer and having this experience with a lot of publications that are well known, and positioning that in a way of how you're helping speakers. you know, because that's
I
going to really, really help kind of position you as the expert for that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. And I think once you fine tune your what you're about and what your messaging is around the new VA for speakers, you'll be able to update a lot of these elements on the page, like your tagline, and also focus your blogging around what's going to be relevant to them, to develop a content strategy that's going to attract them organically on Google based on what you're writing about, basing what you're writing about on what they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Can
And
I
I'd
ask you
also,
a
yeah, go ahead.
quick question? Can you click on my virtual assistant page?
Yes. Okay.
And that's my first step towards working with speakers.
Okay,
Now
feeling a bit of, great. Well, let me just say the feeling a bit overwhelmed. It's is that what you're finding out that speakers are most feeling and responding to, or what is their dream for themselves?
I think they have the ability to speak. That is a skill set, but I don't think they necessarily have the skill set of writing. So I think they have all this information on the web, on their computers, on pieces of paper, but they need somebody to repurpose it into blog posts, into newsletters, and send it out.
Is that what they're definitely looking for at the top of their list, or are they looking for someone who's just gonna, help facilitate and organize a lot of the details of their lives and booking events and managing their travel and managing their communication so they can just get up on stage and perform and be at their best? Like what is their big dream and aspiration? Is it that they want to speak on more stages and bigger stages? I feel like your headline and your tagline is too small, and that their aspiration is bigger than that. So even though you help them specifically to translate their speaking into language, into blog posts and all of that, I feel like you're leading with step 4 and 5 in the product reading sequence, which is the more information, before you've gotten their attention by actually talking to what they specifically need and what they're aspiring to. Do you see what I'm saying?
In other words, they're aspiring to be talking, to speak, like you said, speaking in a much bigger, having a bigger audience, and yet I'm talking about the details of their, because I want to help them with their writing.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would first talk about what their aspiration and their challenge is, and then you would package and frame the writing later on, after you've gotten their attention, in
Mm-hmm.
the kind of how you do what you do. But until you get their attention, it's premature to talk about the writing because I don't think that that's what they're leading with. I might be wrong, but the way to find out is to talk to your clients.
Super. Thank you.
Awesome. No problem. So let's go on to the next person. Okay, so the next one is Anastasia with anastasiaphotography.com.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, there's a bit of feedback on the line, but it's quieting down. I can
Okay,
hear you.
sorry about
Do you have at all a headphones that you could put on?
I've
Or
got,
self?
yeah, I've got them plugged in, but I'm on a mic, so I think that might be it.
Okay, well, we'll do our best. I think it's quieting down the interference. So, all right, checking out your site, Anastasia's Photography. And by the way, all the links are in the chat window on GoToWebinar. So if you guys want to open this on your screen and explore, you can. So the first thing that I see, well, first tell me about who your audience is. I mean, obviously, people who are getting married, but are you working in a particular geographic area? How are you getting a good client load right now? Tell me a little bit more about what you're looking to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm actually in country Australia, and I haven't gotten anybody off of my website in the past year. I thought when I created this site, I wanted, so I want to go in at the top of the market. I've had a lot of experience in Orange County photographing high-end brides, and I'm in another country now, dealing with brides who are mostly can choose from the 2 market leaders or people who just basically come out for $300 a day and burn a disc. And I want to set myself up basically as an expert, as having the best quality of images and producing the best quality service for my clients, and the best quality products. But I need a certain amount of money, and so when I set this up, I was looking for people who were looking for an album, because that's, it's the packages that include albums that get the kind of higher end clients here.
Sure, absolutely. Well, the first thing that I see in looking at this site is it doesn't look like it's top of the line, because part of the thing about serving top of the line high-end clients is that you've got to look top of the line and send those signals out to your clients. And one thing that I'm seeing is that there's so much text, there's so much clutter here that I don't know where to look. Like, all of this text is actually taking away from the images, and you're not really highlighting the quality of your work, right? So there's just text everywhere, and I don't know where to look, and I'm confused. And the thing about photography is usually, like, this gorgeous image that you have of the couple kissing behind the doorway, you are, even though there's all of this background, pointing people's attention to exactly where they need to look, right? But your website's not doing the same thing, where it's not downloading the, it's not really grabbing my attention and letting me know where I need to look, right? So there's just tons and tons of text. So what I would do first is Anastasia's photography. If you're primarily working in Australia, I think that you need to say somewhere kind of at the top of the site that you are in Australia, and also say kind of what makes you different, but then to highlight your images right away so people can see them.
Okay.
Whether that's a slideshow. And let me just give you an example. Let me give you another quick example of a site I built for an interior designer. Right? Let me see. Going there now. Right? So here's the interior designer site. And you see, it was super important for Anne to have her design be right front and central, just beautiful pictures of her design, right? Because that's what's going to make people hire her, is her design, the quality of her work. And then after that, they want to know everything else about her and her style and everything else. But you've got to grab their attention with the quality of your work and then show how you're different. So we focused on having this big, beautiful slideshow up at the top. So if your banner had something about where you're working, and then you have a beautiful slideshow, and then you can put some of these differentiating factors in down below, I think it's going to help a lot. So when I see my wedding photography guide, I don't know if that's a gift that's for wedding photographers or for people who are getting married and are looking for a wedding photographer. Just by the name of the guide?
Yeah, I haven't had any opt-ins at that except for existing clients.
Right.
So that's probably why, 'cause it's confusing.
Yeah, so if it's instead, if the guide's on, how to choose the right wedding photographer, and I've seen a lot of people do this who are in your kind of industry, and are seven tips for choosing the right wedding photographer, and then those are tips that include kind of obvious things, but also things that you do that other people don't do. You're automatically positioning yourself as the right choice in their minds, because obviously you're going to be able to offer all 7 things on that list.
Okay.
So that's an example of another site, like a gift that might be more attractive to people. And if you can think about it, they might be typing in how to choose a wedding photographer, right? So that's going to be speaking to them in their language, because that's what they're looking for at this moment when you're trying to attract them. So for me, I would work on making your site, like I said, more high-end if you're looking to appeal to a high-end client. But also to start getting people around those keywords, like wedding photographer Australia, or where specifically in Australia are you?
Queensland on the Fraser Coast.
Okay, so wedding photographer Queensland, for example, wedding photographer Fraser Coast. Now you want to start having content on your website that has some of those words. So you might be something like the best places to hold weddings on Fraser Coast, for example, right? So if you have blog posts around topics like that, so you're actually regularly attracting people in Google who are at the moment when they're ready to buy your kind of service, that would be something that you'd want to do by blogging about some of those topics and using specific locations in your blog, because most likely people are typing in specific locations.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Well, those are a few starting points. There's a lot more we can talk about, but I think that will get you started in making some updates.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
No problem. Well, I want to open the lineup for some more questions. So, do we have any other questions that have come in? Hold on one second. Finding your questions. Okay, so you can still ask questions on Facebook, and we're getting over there right now to find your most up-to-date questions. So if you've asked something, I'll definitely cover it. Like I said, I'd like to stay on the line until your questions are answered. So we're working our way through the Facebook page, looking for the questions. Oh, here's one. So someone asked me basically what to do, if you don't have a website. So you wanted to wait to kind of do this course until you have a website and feel like you need to get something up there first. So I wanted to say that a lot of people have told me this, but one of the things that you can probably see from the website audits, and don't worry if you don't have a website yet, is that I can help you build a site that is much better than if you start on your own. So I can help you avoid a lot of mistakes and build it right the first time, so you don't have to rebuild it again in a couple of months. Because as you can see, there's a lot that goes into having a really effective site that's not going to be a leaky bucket for your marketing activities, that's really going to convert people to your mailing list and attract them when they first land on your website. And that includes both the message and the brand, but also the kind of way that the site is structured and the way certain elements fall on the page. So don't worry if you don't have a site yet. I actually think it's a good thing, because then you don't have to redo anything that's not working. You can start fresh. And when you're starting from zero, that's actually the best time, or one of the best times to do this work, because you can do almost anything and you can get started with the right foundation and the right tools and the right strategies from day one. So don't worry about that, and I'm hoping that we can do a website audit for you when you have something up and running. All right, another question. Okay. So I just wanted to say that there's just one fast action bonus left. So if you are still thinking about signing up for the program and you want to, then now's the time. And I also wanted to congratulate Ellie for joining Message to Money. Looking forward to hearing more about you and your business. So there's still a spot left if you want to join it and get the 1-hour strategy session with me. And oh, I got one more question as well. So hold on a second, getting that. Okay, it's a question from Nicole. You mentioned that your call would tell exactly what you do and say to position yourself as an authority in your field, make a huge impact, and charge what you're worth. What was the answer? I must have missed that. So Nicole, I went through 10 different steps, 10 different positioning and branding and messaging strategies on how to, what to say and what to do to be considered a #1 authority in your field. It's not just 3 or 5 or 7 words, even though I think that a hook is going to do a lot of good. So I will be sending out this replay. It included everything from charting your destination, defining your niche, picking your ideal client, finding your hook, crafting your offer, building your movement, creating experience, crafting your look. All of these are elements of things that you need to do and say. I also went through the 9 top marketing and promotion strategies and encourage you to find your top 5, because once you have these elements down, the positioning and what to do and say, it's time to get the word out there. So hopefully that clarified things. I know I covered a lot in this call, and like I said, it's not just a few words to say and do. There's several different moving parts to how to get out there as the #1 authority in your field. So I hope that I answered your questions. All right, here's another question From Deb, I'm a VA offering over 30 services to small businesses. Is the fact that I offer so many services helping or hurting me? No targeted niche. And what do you suggest is a good gift or opt-in offer for my homepage? Thanks for your time. So Deb, the fact that you're offering 30 services doesn't necessarily hurt, but the fact that you don't have a niche or a gift could be hurting, because you want to lead with what the biggest problem your audience has is, and to be able to find that biggest problem, you need to know who your audience is. So it's hard for me to recommend a very specific opt-in gift for you without knowing more about your business as a VA and what your services are. So what I would do is most likely focus in on what the top services are, and from there, like what the things that people ask you for the most. Most likely, if you really look at it, people are coming to you over and over again for the same 1 to 3 things. So if they're always asking the same questions, maybe you can package one of them as a special report or video and help them solve that one problem. Or package up the top 3 things and give them a solution to those things. But I would make your opt-in gift relevant to the biggest problems that they have, and also something that's relevant to the solutions and services that you offer. So, but by the way, if you are going out of the gate saying, I do this, 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 and this, it's hard to believe that. But if you say something that positions yourself as the expert with a certain specialty, and then say that you're a one-stop shop for all their online needs, after that, it's more believable. So thank you, Deb, for your question. All right, I think that's it for questions. So unless you have another question, I think we're going to wrap. Thanks so much. For participating. I've really, really enjoyed being here with you today, and I look forward to working with so many of you in the Message to Money program. So I can't wait to begin. We're starting the first live call on October 16th, and I'm going to start sending out the first training videos next week. So you're going to start getting some great materials from me right away that are going to help you in your business. So I'm looking forward to beginning, and thank you all for showing up here, and thanks to everyone who signed up to go deeper and take this next step. So have a great rest of your week, and I hope you got some juicy takeaways that will help you in the next level, get to the next level of your business. All right, bye.